here. I'm going to start out with you, brother. This is Brother Grant, David Grant, and Sonel Grant, another couple that are really extending themselves, working hard to promote kingdom interests, and by their activities, we can see that they're going to be very successful in helping out the Portuguese community. Brother Grant, you had an interesting experience in Portuguese service. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, it started with Sonel and Carlos making a call on a Brazilian woman who had shown some interest previously. And so when they got to the door, it was apparent that they were getting ready or planning for a very large group for brunch. But she said, go ahead and come back in an hour, and then I can talk. So we gave her a little more time. We went back about an hour and a half later. And again, Sonel and Carlos went in to knock at the door and see if she was able to talk at that point. And so about, while they were at the door, another brother and I were waiting in the car. So about 5 minutes later, Carlos comes out, beaming ear to ear, but without my wife. Sonel wasn't with him. So he goes, you guys have to come in. He goes, this is incredible. There's 16 people in there, and we're going to witness to all of them. So we got out of the car and went in. Honestly, at this point, feeling a little awkward. This is someone else's brunch with 16 people. So we soon discovered that the party was a bunch of Brazilian women and their husbands who regularly got together for brunch. And husbands were from all over the world, Germany, Russia, Argentina, and some other places. But to our surprise, they all seemed more than happy to talk with us, welcomed us in as if we were on the guest list. So we finally ended up placing, I think, 4 brochures with them, and it's led to some nice further conversations.
So what did you learn from this experience?
Well, what I would normally consider a very awkward situation wasn't. It became clear that we're just not learning the language, but we're learning a culture. And Brazilian culture is very different than ours, and what we're used to. In our culture, we tend to assume that people are busy, they don't want to talk to us, they have company, so they don't want to talk to us. But we've learned that Brazilian culture is very open, welcoming, accepting, and we need to learn our assumptions behind.
Thank you very much. Sisters, Sister Sonel Grant, you have an experience that also helps us to see another facet of our learning a language and putting first the kingdom. You related that you met a Brazilian woman at a bookstore. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was after our first or second class. So I went to Borders Bookstore to buy the language program that you guys had recommended for a class. I was reaching for it on the shelf when the woman next to me said, "Are you learning Portuguese?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "No way, I'm Brazilian." And she asked why I was learning. I told her that a lot of Brazilians had moved to the area, and they were hoping to understand the Bible. So they volunteers to learn Portuguese to teach them the Bible, and that my husband and I had volunteered. Then she asked, well, who's sponsoring this? And I told her Jehovah's Witnesses. She goes, no way. My best friend's grandma in Brazil is a witness. So then she literally forced me to take her name and number and said, let's meet every week for coffee here at Borders, and I'll teach you my language.
Wow. How did she help you specifically?
Well, the next week I met her, and I was thinking I got to figure out how to inform a witness at the same time. And so I came up with the idea that every week I'd have her help me come up with an answer for the Wednesday night meeting. So I brought my Come Be My Follower book. This involved her reading the chapter, which led her to her telling me what she thought the answer was, and then telling me how to say it in Portuguese. She'd go, okay, you need to do, be like Jesus and use illustrations, okay? I'd say, okay, and then she'd tell me how to say it. So, although this led to many spiritual discussions, she made it very clear that she was open to using my literature to teach me, but she didn't want it pushed on her. So I didn't offer a study, but when she had questions, I would answer them with just a simple scripture or two. And this impressed her because after doing that, she said, I wish I had a firm foundation for my faith like you do.
How many months has this been going on?
4 months.
So at this point in time, where does she stand?
Well, numerous times she's mentioned that she's thirsting for truth. She says, I'm thirsty, so now I'm thirsty. And she asked me, why is God making the truth so hard to find? And she said that her search for God has made her feel like she's swimming in the dark. And so not wanting to push too much again, she says, I don't want to be pushed, don't want to be pushed. So I just gave her a copy of the Bible Teach book, and I said, this might interest you. This is what I study with my students. She knows I do a Bible study course with people. So last Friday, she pulls out the book and turns to the chapter on spiritism and points to the picture of the tarot cards. She says, Sanel, did you know those books that I bought in the New Age section of this bookstore fall into the category of spiritism? I said, yes. She said, well, Satan is trying to blind me, telling me that darkness is light. I said, yes. Then she turned the page and pointed to the picture of the man burning and throwing away his spiritistic things. And she told me she threw away all her New Age books, and the only books on her nightstand right now are the Bible that I gave her and the Bible Teach book. So this, then Wednesday of this week, I called and told her that the public talk for this Sunday is Come, You Who Are Thirsting for Truth. So she got really excited. She says, I'll be there, and she's bringing her daughter. So tomorrow they're going to the meeting with us.
That's fabulous.
Thank you so much.